Hi kindergarten, thank you so much for joining me for another read aloud. This week our theme is all about animals at the zoo, so I thought that I would share with you guys a story about an animal that you could see at the zoo, and that animal is a polar bear. So today we're going to read Ahoy There Little Polar Bear, and this book is written and illustrated by Hans de Beer. So let's find out about this little polar bear. Lars the little polar bear lived with his mother and father near the North Pole, where everything was white for as far as the eye could see. Although he spent much of his time alone, he was happy. But one day when Lars swam quite far from his den, something terrible happened. Lars caught his foot, was pulled down deep into the sea, then yanked up in a gigantic net. Let's look at that net. Do you see the other animals that are in there with them? That net was catching fish, and I even see some crabs that Lars got caught with. Lars was dropped to the ground with such a bang he fainted. When he awoke, he couldn't tell where he was. Above him was a ladder, so he climbed up the slippery rungs. Lars roamed the long hallways. It seemed he was all alone, until something rustled behind him. As he turned around, two large eyes stared at him. Lars ran for his life. Look at that picture. What are the two large eyes that were staring at him? Can you see what animal it was? Just when he thought he was safe again, he heard a voice. "Don't be afraid, it's only me, Nemo, the ship's cat. Welcome aboard." Lars looked up. Above him was a friendly-looking creature with orange fur. Lars could see that Nemo was an animal that he could trust. Was your guess right? When I looked at that picture, my guess was a cat, too. "I'm Lars," said the little polar bear. "I'm trying to get home as soon as I can." "Well, I'm afraid that is impossible. At least not right away," Nemo said. "Your home is a long way from where we are now." "Well, where are we?" asked Lars. "We're on a ship on our way back to port. Once we're there, I'll take you to see some friends who may be able to help. But until then, there isn't anything that we can do. Why don't we get something to eat? I expect you're very hungry." When he had eaten, Lars felt much better and more cheerful. He curled up beside Nemo and fell fast asleep. When they awoke, Nemo took Lars up to the deck. "Look," he said, pointing to the horizon, which was aglow with lights. "That's the port. We'll be there soon." Lars was so excited he could hardly wait to get ashore. When the ship had come into port, Lars eagerly followed Nemo onto the deck and over the plank. "Try to look inconspicuous," said Nemo. Inconspicuous is a super big word, kindergarten. If they're trying to look inconspicuous, it means they're kind of trying to blend in and not be noticed. Because what would you do if you were in a town like this and you saw a polar bear getting off of a ship? You might be a little bit shocked. What Lars found on the other side of the plank surprised and disappointed him. Everything was so untidy and dirty. "I'm afraid this isn't a very clean place," sighed Nemo. "We'd best hurry. Follow me around the back way. The streets are much too dangerous." As Lars and Nemo made their way through alleys and back streets, Lars's white coat became dirtier and dirtier. He wished more than ever that he was home again, where everything was clean and white. Uh-oh, he even has some gum stuck to his foot. He is looking pretty gross, huh? Following Nemo over fences and along walls took all Lars's efforts. At last, Nemo stopped. "We have arrived," he announced. "Wait here a moment." It was very dark. Many eyes were staring at Lars. He grew quite nervous. What do you think those eyes are, friends? Let's see if it tells us in our story. But the eyes belonged to some more cats, who turned out to be just as friendly as Nemo. The cats looked grave as Nemo explained Lars's problem. They thought it over for a few minutes. Then a black and white cat stepped forward. I'm Johnny, also a ship's cat, he said. My ship is leaving for the Arctic tomorrow. We must get you on board before daylight. There's all the cats talking to Lars. Look how many of them there are. If you have a cat, see if you can find one in this picture that might look like the one that you have at home. Lars, Johnny, and Nemo had to rush back through the alleys and backyards. Lars was so excited to be on his way home again, he forgot to watch where he was going and was almost hit by a truck. Uh-oh! When Lars reached the ship, he said goodbye to Nemo quickly, for there was not very much time, but it was a sad moment. I think he's going to miss his new friend. For Lars, the time on the ship passed quickly. It wasn't long before he spotted something wonderful on the horizon. Look, Johnny, he shouted, the North Pole. See how clean and white it is? I was once as clean and white as that. That night, when the ship anchored, Lars thanked Johnny and set up for the beautiful white shores of the North Pole. Can you see him climbing down the anchor? Looks like that's how he's going to get into the water to go to the ice to head to his home. As Lars swam, the sea washed his fur clean. Once on the shore, Lars ran for his den to greet his worried parents, who couldn't have been happier to see him. When Lars told his parents about his adventures, their mouths dropped open. They must have been shocked. And this is what Nemo looks like, Lars explained as he tried his best to look like a cat. Although his parents were not sure they understood, they were so happy to have Lars home again, it didn't really matter. That night, they all slept close together. After that day, Lars's father often found his son gazing out at the horizon. What are you looking for? He asked. Ships, Lars said, and cats too. Someday a cat might fall off a ship and come to visit us. And there he is, walking in the Arctic. All right, my friends, well, I am so glad that Lars was able to find his way home and meet some new friends along the way. So I hope you enjoyed our story all about this little polar bear searching for his home. And I hope that you have a great week and enjoy our Animals at the Zoo week. Goodbye, kindergarten. I'll see you soon.